Jack Wilson had always dreamed of going to space. As a kid, he would stare at the stars for hours, imagining what it would be like to float among them. Now, at 35 years old, he was living his dream. Jack was an astronaut, and today was the start of his biggest mission yet. The rocket stood tall and proud on the launch pad. Jack looked up at it, feeling both excited and nervous. This was his third trip to space, but his first solo mission to the moon. He was going to check on some equipment left there by earlier missions. "Ready for your big day, Wilson?" asked his commander, patting him on the back. Jack nodded, his face serious. "Yes, sir. I've trained hard for this." As he climbed into the spacecraft, Jack thought about his family back home. His wife, Sarah, and their 2 kids had wished him luck that morning. He promised to bring back moon rocks for the kids. The countdown began. Jack's heart raced as he heard the numbers. 10, 9, 8. He took a deep breath, remembering all his training. 7, 6, 5. Jack gripped the controls tightly. 4, 3, 2, 1. The engines roared to life. Jack felt the massive power of the rocket as it lifted off. The force pushed him back into his seat as the spacecraft shot up into the sky. "Liftoff successful," said the voice from Mission Control in his earpiece. "How are you doing up there, Wilson?" "All systems go," Jack replied, his voice steady despite the shaking of the rocket. Feeling good. The journey to the moon took 3 days. Jack kept busy, checking systems and running tests. He talked to Mission Control regularly, giving them updates on his progress. On the 3rd day, the moon came into view. Its gray, cratered surface grew larger as Jack's spacecraft got closer. "Preparing for lunar descent," Jack reported. "Copy that," Mission Control responded. "You're looking good from here, Wilson." Jack started the landing sequence, just like he had practiced hundreds of times in simulations. Everything was going smoothly. The moon's surface was getting closer and closer. Suddenly, a red light started flashing on Jack's control panel. An alarm beeped loudly. "Mission Control, I've got a problem here," Jack said, trying to keep his voice calm. "My landing gear isn't responding." "We see it, Wilson," came the reply. "Try the backup system." Jack flipped switches and pressed buttons, but nothing worked. The landing gear stayed stuck. "Backup system not responding," he reported, his heart pounding. "I can't land without it." "Abort the landing, Wilson," Mission Control ordered. "Get back into lunar orbit, and we'll figure this out." But it was too late. The spacecraft was too close to the moon's surface. Jack tried to pull up, but the ship wasn't responding fast enough. "Mayday! Mayday!" Jack shouted. "I'm going down." The lunar surface rushed up to meet him. Jack braced for impact, closing his eyes tight. Crash! The spacecraft hit the moon hard, bouncing and skidding across the dusty surface. Metal screeched and tore. Jack was thrown around in his seat, held in only by his safety harness. Finally, the ship came to a stop. Everything was quiet except for the hiss of escaping air and the crackle of damaged electronics. Jack opened his eyes slowly, hardly believing he was still alive. He looked around at the wrecked interior of his ship. The view screen was cracked, showing a tilted view of the lunar landscape outside. "Mission Control, do you copy?" Jack called weakly. "This is Wilson. I've crashed on the lunar surface." But there was no answer. Only static came through his radio. Jack realized with a sinking feeling that he was alone, stranded on the moon with a broken ship and no way to call for help. As the full weight of his situation hit him, he didn't know that his adventure was just beginning, and that help would come from the most unexpected place. Jack Wilson sat in his crashed spaceship, trying to calm his racing heart. He was alive, but he was in big trouble. The ship's lights flickered, casting strange shadows inside the damaged craft. "Okay, Jack," he said to himself. "Think. What's the first thing to do?" He remembered his training. Check for injuries, then check the ship's systems. Jack moved his arms and legs carefully. He had some bruises, but nothing seemed broken. That was lucky. Next, he looked at the ship's control panel. Most of the lights were out, or flashing red. That was bad. The radio was dead silent, no matter how many buttons Jack pressed. "Great," Jack muttered. "No way to call home." He checked the air supply next. The crash had damaged some of the tanks, but there was still enough air for about 3 days. After that, Jack didn't want to think about it. The food and water were okay. At least he wouldn't starve right away. But without help, Jack knew he was in serious danger. He put on his spacesuit and decided to go outside. Maybe he could fix the radio antenna. As he stepped onto the moon's surface, Jack felt a mix of awe and fear. The Earth hung in the sky, beautiful and so far away. "Wow," he whispered. Then he got to work. Jack checked the outside of the ship. It was badly damaged. The landing gear was twisted and broken. One of the engines had a big crack in it. The radio antenna was bent at a weird angle. He tried to straighten the antenna, but it was no use. It was too damaged. Jack felt a wave of hopelessness wash over him. "Don't give up," he told himself firmly. "There's got to be a way out of this." Jack went back inside the ship and started looking through the emergency supplies. He found a toolkit and some spare parts. Maybe he could fix something, anything, to improve his chances. Hours passed as Jack worked on the ship's systems. He managed to get some of the lights working better, but the radio was still dead. The air recycler was working, but not very well. Jack knew he was just buying time. As the Earth set behind the moon, Jack felt very alone. The darkness outside was complete. He'd never seen anything so black. It was scary, but beautiful too. Suddenly, a light appeared on the horizon. At first, Jack thought he was imagining things. But no, there was definitely a glow coming from behind one of the moon's hills. "What the?" Jack said out loud. His heart started beating faster. No one else was supposed to be on the moon. What could that light be? The glow got brighter. It was moving, coming closer to Jack's crashed ship. He pressed his face against the cracked view screen, trying to see better. Then he saw it. Jack's mouth fell open in shock. It wasn't a rescue ship from Earth. It wasn't anything human at all. A strange, silvery object was floating towards him. It was shaped like nothing Jack had ever seen before, all curves and odd angles. Soft lights pulsed along its sides. As it got closer, Jack could hardly breathe. He knew what this meant, but he could barely believe it. It's a UFO," he whispered. "An actual alien spaceship." The alien craft stopped right next to Jack's wrecked ship. For a long moment, nothing happened. Jack stared at it, wondering what would happen next. Were the aliens friendly? Had they come to help? Or was he in even more danger now? Then, with a soft hiss, a door opened in the side of the alien ship. Light spilled out, bright against the darkness of the moon. A figure appeared in the doorway. Jack's eyes went wide. He was about to meet an actual alien. After all his trouble, after thinking he was going to die alone on the moon, this was happening. It was the most terrifying and exciting moment of his life. As the alien stepped out onto the moon's surface, Jack knew his whole world was about to change forever. Jack Wilson held his breath as the alien stepped out of its ship. He had imagined this moment many times, but nothing could have prepared him for the real thing. The alien was tall, at least 7 feet high. Its body was slender and seemed to shimmer like it was made of living metal. It had 4 arms and moved with a strange, fluid grace. Where a human would have a face, the alien had a smooth, reflective surface that looked like a mirror. Jack's heart was pounding so hard he thought it might burst out of his chest. He watched as the alien glided across the moon's surface towards his crashed ship. "Okay, Jack," he whispered to himself. "Don't panic. Be cool." The alien stopped in front of Jack's view screen and raised one of its hands. It made a gesture that looked like a wave. Jack hesitated for a moment, then waved back. The alien's head tilted to one side, as if it was curious. Suddenly, a voice filled Jack's head. It wasn't a sound he heard with his ears, but words that appeared directly in his mind. "Greetings, Earth human," the voice said. "We detected your crash. Are you in need of assistance?" Jack was so shocked he couldn't speak for a moment. The alien was talking to him, in his head. Yes," Jack finally managed to say out loud. "Yes, I need help. My ship is broken. I can't contact Earth." The alien nodded its mirror-like head. "We understand. Do not be afraid. We come in peace and wish to help." Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him. The aliens were friendly. He wasn't going to die on the moon after all. "Thank you," Jack said, his voice shaky with emotion. I don't know what to say." "Words are not necessary," the alien replied in Jack's mind. "We will open your ship now. Please remain calm." Before Jack could react, a beam of soft blue light shot out from the alien's hand. It touched the door of Jack's ship, and with a hiss, the door opened. The alien floated into the ship, its movements smooth and weightless. Jack watched in amazement as it looked around, its mirror face reflecting the blinking lights of the control panel. "Your technology is primitive, but interesting," the alien said. "We can repair your vessel, but it will take time." Jack nodded, still unable to believe what was happening. Who are you?" he finally asked. The alien turned its reflective face towards Jack. "We are the Zartan," it said. "We have been observing your planet for many of your years. We have a base on the far side of your moon." Jack's mouth fell open. "A base? On the moon? But how come we've never seen it?" The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your technology is not yet advanced enough to detect us. We have been waiting for the right time to make contact." As the alien spoke, 2 more Zartan entered the ship. They began to work on the damaged systems, their 4 arms moving with incredible speed and precision. Jack watched in awe as the aliens repaired his ship. Lights that had been dead for hours came back to life. The hum of working engines filled the air. "This is amazing," Jack said. "I can't wait to tell everyone on Earth about you." The alien turned to Jack, its mirror face serious. "That may not be wise, Earth human. Your people may not be ready for our existence." Jack frowned. But you're helping me. Surely people would want to know about friendly aliens." "Not all humans think alike," the alien said. "Some might fear us. Others might want to take our technology by force. We must be cautious." As Jack thought about this, he realized the alien was right. Humans often reacted with fear to things they didn't understand, and some people might see the aliens as a threat. "So what do we do?" Jack asked. The alien placed one of its hands on Jack's shoulder. "We will help you return to Earth safely. But first, there is much we need to discuss. Your arrival here may have set in motion events that will change the future of both our peoples." Jack nodded slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He had come to the moon as an astronaut on a simple mission. Now he was about to become Earth's first ambassador to an alien race. As the Zartan continued their work, Jack knew that his adventure was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Jack Wilson sat in the Zartan spaceship, his eyes wide with wonder. The alien craft was unlike anything he had ever seen. Smooth, curved walls glowed with a soft light. Strange symbols floated in the air, changing and moving as the aliens worked. The lead Zartan, who Jack had started calling Mirror in his head, stood before him. Its reflective face showed Jack's own amazed expression. "Earth human," Mirror said in Jack's mind, "we would like to learn more about your kind. In return, we will share some of our knowledge with you." Jack nodded eagerly. "I'd be happy to tell you about humans, and I have so many questions for you." Mirror made a gesture that seemed like a nod. "Very well. Let us begin with your civilization. How do humans govern themselves?" Jack thought for a moment. "Well, we have many different countries, each with its own government. Some are democracies, where people vote for their leaders. Others have different systems. The alien tilted its head. Fascinating. Your world is divided. We Zartan are united as one people across many star systems. Jack's jaw dropped. Star systems? You mean you've traveled to other stars? Indeed, Mirror replied. We have existed as a spacefaring civilization for millions of your years. Jack felt a mix of awe and a little fear. Humans suddenly seemed very small and young compared to the Zartan. What about war? Jack asked. Do the Zartan fight among themselves? Mirror's surface rippled, which Jack guessed was a sign of emotion. We abandoned warfare long ago. We saw it as wasteful and primitive. Do humans still engage in this practice? Jack looked down, feeling a bit ashamed. Yes, we do. We're trying to do better, but we still have conflicts. The alien placed a hand on Jack's shoulder. Do not be discouraged. Your species is young. There is time to learn and grow. Jack smiled, feeling a bit better. He decided to change the subject. Can you tell me about your technology? How does your ship work? Mirror's face shimmered. Our technology is based on manipulating the fundamental forces of the universe, what you call gravity, electromagnetism, and the nuclear forces we shape to our will. Jack's head spun trying to understand. That sounds like magic to me, he admitted. The alien made a sound like gentle laughter. To a less advanced civilization, advanced technology often appears as magic. Your own technology would seem magical to your ancestors. As they talked, Jack noticed the other Zartan working on his crashed ship through a view screen. They moved with incredible speed and skill, fixing systems that Jack thought were beyond repair. Your people are amazing, Jack said. The way you're fixing my ship, I've never seen anything like it. Mirror's reflection seemed to smile. We are glad to help. But now, tell us more about human achievements. What are you most proud of as a species? Jack thought hard. Well, we've made great strides in medicine, extending our lifespans and curing diseases. We've explored our entire planet and are starting to explore space. We create art and music that moves people's emotions. As Jack spoke, he realized how far humanity had come. Yes, they had problems, but they had also achieved incredible things. The alien listened intently. Impressive. Your creativity and adaptability are remarkable. These qualities will serve you well as you venture into the cosmos. Jack felt a surge of pride for his species. Maybe humans weren't so behind after all. They had potential, and now they had the chance to learn from an advanced civilization. Mirror, Jack said, I have to ask, why are you helping me? Why reveal yourselves now? The alien was quiet for a moment. Then it said, because, Jack Wilson, the universe is changing. A great challenge is coming, one that will affect both our peoples. Your arrival here was not mere chance. It may be the beginning of a new era for humans, and Zartan alike. Jack's heart raced. What did Mirror mean? What challenge was coming? Before he could ask, an alarm sounded in the alien ship. Mirror's head turned sharply. We have detected something entering your solar system, the alien said, its mental voice urgent. Something that should not be here. Jack stood up, suddenly afraid. What is it? He asked. Mirror's reply sent a chill down Jack's spine. A threat to both our peoples, and it's heading straight for Earth. Jack realized his adventure had suddenly become much bigger and much more dangerous than he ever could have imagined. Jack Wilson's heart raced as he watched the Zartan aliens rush around their ship. Lights flashed, and strange symbols danced in the air faster than before. Mirror, the alien Jack had been talking to, stood very still, its reflective face focused on a large screen. What's happening? Jack asked, his voice shaky. What kind of threat are we facing? Mirror turned to Jack, its surface rippling with what seemed like concern. We have detected a void-born ship entering your solar system, the alien said in Jack's mind. Void-born? Jack repeated, confused. Who are they? The alien's mental voice grew grave. The Voidborn are a hostile species from the dark spaces between galaxies. They consume worlds, leaving nothing but empty husks behind. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. This sounded like something out of a scary science fiction movie, but it was real. And they're coming here. To Earth? Mirror nodded. Yes. We believe they detected the energy signature from your crash. It drew their attention to your system. Jack's legs felt weak. He sat down hard on a nearby chair. This is all my fault, he whispered. The alien placed a comforting hand on Jack's shoulder. No, Earth human. The Voidborn have been expanding their territory for eons. It was only a matter of time before they found your world. Your crash merely hastened the inevitable. But what can we do? Jack asked, looking up at Mirror. Earth doesn't have technology like yours. We can't fight these Voidborn. Mirror's surface shimmered. Perhaps not alone. But together, we might stand a chance. Just then, another Zartan floated over. It made some gestures and symbols appeared in the air. Mirror studied them, then turned back to Jack. We have a plan, the alien said, but it will require cooperation between our peoples. And you, Jack Wilson, will play a crucial role. Jack sat up straighter. Me? But I'm just an astronaut. What can I do against alien invaders? You are the bridge between our civilizations, Mirror explained. You must return to Earth and convince your leaders to work with us. Without unity between humans and Zartan, your planet will fall. Jack nodded slowly, understanding the weight of his new mission. Okay, he said, taking a deep breath. What's the plan? Mirror gestured, and a 3D image appeared in the air. It showed Earth, the moon, and a strange dark ship approaching. The Voidborn ship will reach Earth in 7 of your days, Mirror said. We cannot defeat them in space. Their technology is too advanced. But if we can lure them to land on Earth, we might have a chance. Land on Earth? Jack asked, alarmed. Wouldn't that put everyone in danger? It is a risk, Mirror admitted. But on the ground, the Voidborn lose their greatest advantage. And there, the unique qualities of humans might turn the tide. Jack looked confused. Unique qualities? What do you mean? Mirror's surface seemed to smile. In our observations of Earth, we've seen that humans have a remarkable ability to unite in the face of common threats. Your adaptability, creativity, and determination make you formidable opponents. Jack felt a surge of pride. The aliens saw potential in humanity that even humans sometimes forgot. So what do we do? Jack asked, feeling more confident. We will repair your ship and enhance it with some of our technology, Mirror explained. You must return to Earth and convince your leaders of the threat. Prepare your militaries, but also your scientists and problem solvers. The Voidborn can be defeated, but it will take more than just weapons. Jack nodded, his mind racing with the enormous task ahead. And what will you do? We will use our lunar base to create a defense network around Earth, Mirror said. We'll do what we can to slow the Voidborn and guide them to land where you can face them. Jack stood up, feeling a mix of fear and determination. Okay, he said. I'm ready. Let's save Earth. As the Zartan began preparing Jack's ship for the journey home, he looked out at the Earth hanging in the black sky. It looked so beautiful, so fragile. Jack made a silent promise to his home planet. Hold on, Earth, he whispered. Help is coming. The fate of humanity now rested on Jack's shoulders. He had to convince the world to unite and fight alongside alien allies against an unimaginable threat. It would be the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. And they only had 7 days to prepare. Jack Wilson sat in his repaired spacecraft, marveling at the changes the Zartan had made. The control panel now glowed with strange symbols, and he could feel a new power humming through the ship. Remember, Earth human, Mirror's voice echoed in his mind. You must convince your leaders quickly. Time is short. Jack nodded, his face set with determination. I understand. Thank you for everything. With a final wave to the Zartan, Jack closed the hatch. The alien ship moved back, giving him space. Jack took a deep breath and hit the launch button. His ship shot off the moon's surface with incredible speed. The journey that had taken days now took only hours. As Earth grew larger in his view screen, Jack rehearsed what he would say. Approaching Earth atmosphere, a soft voice said. Jack realized with a start that it was his ship, now somehow alive with Zartan technology. As the ship streaked through the sky, alarms went off in military bases around the world. Radar operators stared in disbelief at the object moving at impossible speeds. Jack's ship landed with a gentle touch on the lawn of the White House. Within minutes, the area was surrounded by armed soldiers and Secret Service agents. The ship's door opened, and Jack stepped out, his hands raised. "My name is Jack Wilson," he shouted. "I'm an astronaut. I need to speak to the president immediately. The Earth is in danger." For a tense moment, no one moved. Then a voice shouted, "Hold your fire." That's Wilson, the missing astronaut. Jack was quickly whisked inside the White House. He found himself in the Oval Office, facing the president and a room full of military leaders and scientists. "Mr. Wilson," the president said, looking both relieved and confused, "we thought you were dead. What happened? And what's this about Earth being in danger?" Jack took a deep breath. "Mr. President, I know this will sound crazy, but please hear me out. We don't have much time." Over the next hour, Jack told his story. He explained about his crash, the Zartan aliens, and the approaching void-born threat. The room was silent, everyone staring at Jack in disbelief. "Aliens? An invasion," the president finally said. "This is hard to believe, Mr. Wilson." Just then, a general burst into the room. "Mr. President, we're picking up a massive object entering the solar system. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." The president's face went pale. He turned back to Jack. "What do we do?" Jack leaned forward. "Sir, we need to act fast. We have to tell the world and prepare for a fight like no other. But we're not alone. The Zartan will help us." The next few days were a whirlwind. The president made a worldwide announcement, telling everyone about the alien threat and the need to unite. At first, there was panic. But as the void-born ship got closer, visible even to the naked eye, people began to come together. Scientists from around the world worked with data provided by the Zartan, trying to understand the void-born and find weaknesses. Militaries prepared, but not just with weapons. They also gathered tools, machines, and anything that might be useful against an unknown enemy. Jack worked tirelessly, explaining everything he knew about the Zartan and the Voidborn. He became a symbol of hope, the man who had made first contact and brought back a warning that might save humanity. 5 days after Jack's return, the Zartan made themselves known. Their ships appeared in the sky, and Mirror spoke to the world's leaders, confirming Jack's story and offering their help. As the 6th day dawned, the Voidborn ship entered Earth's orbit. It was massive, blocking out the sun like an eclipse. People around the world looked up in fear and awe. Jack stood with the president and world leaders at a hastily constructed command center. Mirror's hologram flickered beside them. "They're here," Jack said, his voice tense. The president nodded grimly. "So it begins, the fight for Earth." As if in response, the Voidborn ship began to descend. The Zartan's defense network sprang to life, guiding the massive alien craft towards a designated landing zone. Jack clenched his fists. Everything had led to this moment. He looked around at the determined faces of humans and aliens working side by side. Whatever happens, he thought, we face it together. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. The sky turned dark as the massive Voidborn ship descended towards Earth. People all over the world watched in fear and anticipation. In the command center, Jack Wilson stood with world leaders, scientists, and Mirror, the Zartan representative. "They're landing in the designated area," a general announced, pointing to a large screen. Jack nodded. "Just as we planned. Now comes the hard part." The Voidborn ship touched down in a remote desert. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then, with a horrible screech, the ship opened. Dark, shadowy figures poured out, their forms shifting and changing like living smoke. "My God," the president whispered. "What are they?" Mirror's hologram flickered. "They are the Voidborn. They consume all in their path, but together, we can stop them." As if on cue, the human and Zartan forces sprang into action. Jets roared overhead, dropping special bombs developed by Earth scientists and Zartan engineers. The explosions created fields of energy that seemed to hurt the Voidborn, making them shriek and retreat. On the ground, soldiers in high-tech suits charged forward. They carried weapons that shot beams of concentrated sunlight, another weakness the Zartan had discovered. The Voidborn hissed and dissolved when hit by the light, but the aliens were powerful. They regrouped and surged forward, their dark forms absorbing everything in their path. Trees, rocks, even tanks disappeared into their shadowy bodies. "We need more power," Jack shouted. "The light weapons aren't enough." Suddenly, a young scientist burst into the room. "I have an idea," she said, holding up a strange device. "We can use the Zartan technology to amplify sunlight. If we can create a massive burst of light, it could destroy them all at once," Mirror finished. Brilliant. The plan was put into action immediately. All around the world, people worked together to build giant light amplifiers. The Zartan used their ships to position mirrors in space, ready to reflect sunlight to a single point. As the devices were prepared, the battle raged on. Brave soldiers fought the Voidborn, buying time with their very lives. Jack found himself on the front lines, using a light weapon to hold back the shadowy monsters. "Hold on," he shouted to the troops around him. "Help is coming." Just when it seemed the Voidborn would overwhelm them, a voice crackled over the radio. "We're ready. Everyone, put on your protective goggles now." Jack and the soldiers quickly covered their eyes. For a moment, the world went dark. Then, a light brighter than 1,000 suns burst across the battlefield. Even through his goggles, Jack could see the incredible brightness. He heard the Voidborn shriek in agony. When the light faded and Jack could see again, he gasped. Where the Voidborn had been, there was nothing but empty desert. The monstrous ship was gone too, leaving only a giant scorch mark on the ground. We did it," Jack said in disbelief. Around him, soldiers began to cheer. The cheers spread across the battlefield, then across the world as news of the victory spread. In the days that followed, the world celebrated. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and survived. But more than that, they had gained new friends among the stars. The Zartan, impressed by humanity's bravery and cleverness, offered to officially welcome Earth into the galactic community. Jack found himself as Earth's first ambassador to the stars. As he prepared for his first trip to the Zartan homeworld, Jack looked out the window at the busy spaceport. Ships of human and alien design sat side by side. Scientists from Earth and dozens of alien worlds worked together, sharing knowledge. Mirror appeared beside him. "You have done well, Jack Wilson. Your actions have opened a new chapter for your people." Jack smiled. "For all of us, I think. We've learned that we're stronger together. Whatever comes next, we'll face it as one." As a sleek ship prepared for launch, carrying the first human delegation to the stars, Jack felt a sense of excitement and hope. His accidental crash on the moon had led to humanity's greatest adventure. The age of Earth alone was over. A new era of galactic cooperation and exploration had begun. And Jack Wilson, once just a simple astronaut, was leading the way into humanity's bright new future among the stars.